Problem, solution, market opportunity, TAM, SAM, SOM. Imagine if you had to see this 20 times per day. Now put yourself in an investor's perspective. They probably do see this 20 times, at least 20 times per day, and it gets boring. So what I did was I analyzed over 50 famous investor decks like the Airbnb one, WeWork, and so on, and then I created my own bizarre, unconventional pitch deck structure. It aims to spare you time and spare the investor time as well. Take a look at it. So we start off simple. I used it for my startup, All Buzzy, but just as a reference company. I'm not really looking for raising an investment at this stage. So we start off with a logo and the contact information so that you don't really lose contact when you're pitching to an investor. It's very simple. And then my favorite slide of this deck is let's cut to the chase. Now, here's the thing. You could start talking about problem, solution, market opportunity, and so on. But the investor probably knows what you're talking about, right? Like in terms of statistics, there is a very high chance that the investor knows what your product is all about. And they're gonna go, oh yeah, so you're this company for that, or you're doing this, you're the Uber of food, or whatever it is. So immediately, I would put companies that the investor knows, like Adobe and Canva, and I say this is our competitive difference. So you're a low-priced and simple Canva and Adobe. And that's how I want to start the conversation. I spared time. I made the elimination process in terms of the thought and just removed all sorts of companies that he could think of. Oh, are you like more like Figma? What are you like? I just immediately said what we're like to put his mind or her mind in the idea of, okay, this company does that. And then that's how we do it better. Now, of course, if you're thinking about, okay, so you're like Canva and Adobe, but how are you different? This is a very valid question that it was probably going to be asked immediately after, and that's why I put it as very direct. Instead of templates, we put templates plus real content. Instead of complex software, we put Google Slides and Google Docs. Now, this is unique selling points in text, and it's very simple, it's very straightforward, and that's how I would prefer to read it if I was an investor. I would just look at it and go like, okay, yeah, you're just doing real content templates, and simple instead of complex software. I get what you mean. Now go next and tell me about the market opportunity. Think about the market opportunity is if you look at any market opportunity online on Google, you'll find that it's growing. A lot of just the websites do it for SEO, and they just put that, like I did that once on the paper market, and I realized that the paper market is growing to reach, I don't know, 200 billion or whatever. The paper market, really? So this is not really, if all the markets are growing, this doesn't make any sense for anyone who's reading. So what I did was I put mergers and acquisitions. So I put valid facts. For example, Canva has a valuation of 25.6 billion. Figma was sold for 20 billion. Adobe has a market cap of 153.6 billion, and it was the one who acquired Figma. Now these are non-debatable facts. So if you're investing, there is a chance that we are in this market, and there is a chance that your exit would be good because there is movement in the industry. And then we put on the traction. Now the traction, I tried to make it as human as possible. Whether you're working crypto, NFT, it doesn't really matter whatever company you're working on. It doesn't make sense that you're growing at all times. You have to have some sort of decline, and that's what I presented here. I showed that the company is human, that it had a decline in March of 2023, and then an increase again in April of 2023. And then I put the most important statistics like the monthly recurring revenue and the monthly expenses. These are numbers that the investor would like to look at. If the investor is interested in moving forward, they're going to ask about the full financial model. And that's just a tease. You can add the financial model in the appendix if you want, but this is a tease to get them, thinking. And finally, your investment and a team, like I put myself as a team founder, and the distribution of investment funds. Now, a famous investor once told me, you don't have to put a team unless you have like a Mark Zuckerberg or a Bill Gates in the team. And that's why I just squeezed it in the investment ask, because we don't have Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates in the company. Finally, and the investment ask is distributed accordingly, 50,000 marketing, 30,000 tech, 20,000 design. That's for our case. Again, we're not looking for investments, but you would just say how we're using your money. It's all about the investor's money, and we're being clear about this. We're using your money and we're gonna grow it, and this deck shows it mostly. Aside from that, people will go like, how could you not add business model? For example, I mean, if you're looking at Canva, at Figma, you would know, even Adobe, you would know that the probable business model is a subscription-based business model. So why would I take time to explain to you that if you could just predict it? And yes, it's according to what you predicted. You can ask questions later. The investor can ask questions. Or you could, if you think this is a vital element, put it in the appendix as mentioned before. And that's my unconventional pitching structure. I put this on Medium and I had a lot of downloads. A lot of people are interested in using it. I advise you to check it out and do the same. You could use a template or you could use just the structure of it and use your own template. But let me know what you think about it. Do you think it's to the point and the investor is not really going to be, it's going to spare time? That's the real question. Because if it does spare time, then I advise you to use it. Aside from that, have a wonderful day.